Hey everybody, how's it going? I hope you're having a wonderful day. My name is Jay Padilla, and today I'm going to be helping all of you aspiring writers get started on creating your dream stories, whether it be for comics, manga, animation, or movies. So what I will discuss in this video can be applied to any medium. So let's get right to it. Now, before we get into the nitty-gritty of this video, I want to say first and foremost, there is no quote-unquote correct path you have to take in order to be a successful writer in any medium, especially not in this day and age of social media. Now, social media isn't for everybody, and many people use it for many different things, and some people see success through their social media, and others through personal connections and networking. If you were to go and study the stories of many successful creators, there are some similarities and overlap, but they each came from different places in their lives, started at different moments, and accomplished different things. So don't think just because you didn't get into a certain school or program, or you don't have the biggest following right now, that you can't navigate through and still accomplish your goals. Now with that out of the way, let's get into some practical things you can do to put yourself on track to writing your stories. These two subjects are usually separate, but to me, if you want your story to be cohesive, then they need to go hand in hand by necessity. In my humblest opinion, there's nothing more important to a story than the characters. You can have the biggest, most epic plotline ever, but if your audience can't stomach your MC or the supporting cast, then they aren't going to invest the time to even get into the epicness of your story. If you don't believe me, let me prove it to you right now. We'll use the MCU as an example. When the MCU first started, in order to get the audience invested, they gave each of their main heroes their own solo movies. Except for Black Widow, who got her movie years later and after she was already dead. Fantastic job, Marvel. But back on topic. In Iron Man 1, they established who Tony Stark is, what he believes, and how he behaves towards others. And as the movie goes on, his character does go through growth, but there are still many things about Tony that doesn't change, so he is still a flawed character. And yes, it is okay for your characters to have flaws. That's what makes them interesting and relatable to normal human beings. But he is on the path to being a great hero, as we can see at the end of his character arc in Endgame. Same goes for Captain America in his movies and Thor in his movie. Now let's take a look at Eternals, an all-star cast with so many unique characters that absolutely no one cares about. You don't get to spend enough time with any of these characters throughout the movie. They have no build, no true development, and they are just held together by the epicness of the plot. And that's the difference between you writing with your character in mind and not just the story. There are a bunch of different examples like this. Just look at the original Lord of the Rings trilogy and the Rings of Power, or just the original trilogy. But now since we talked about why character is so important, now let's talk about why the character of your story and the theme of your story work together. Let's look at one of the greatest superhero movies of all time, The Dark Knight. In this movie, one of the biggest themes in it is chaos personified by the Joker, which plays perfectly against the character of Batman, who is order personified. So the story boils down to the battle between order and chaos personified into two characters, and the relationship they have between each other. And that's what makes the dynamic exciting to watch, to see which ideology will win in the end. So whether you start with your story's theme or your character first, make sure the two mesh well together to make your story more engaging to your audience. This may be a no-brainer, but sometimes writers feel like they need to write into this one specific genre in order to get people to tune in. For example, going back to the MCU, when Marvel movies were at their peak, many people wanted to get in on the hype around it by writing for superheroes, and there may have been some who really enjoy writing things like historical fiction or crime and mystery. But because superheroes were all the rave at the time, they felt they had no other choice but to cater to that audience in order to get any sort of attention. But I'm here to tell you that other genres very much still exist. While there were a wide group of people into the superhero craze, there were also people watching things like Breaking Bad, Game of Thrones, Westworld, and people who still rewatch The Office. People want variety in the content they consume, otherwise it just becomes stale and rigid. Now, I'm not saying to those who want to do superhero stories to not write those stories, because some people have become worn out to superheroes, because many people still do want good superhero content, the emphasis being on good, myself included. But if that's not what inspires you, then don't feel compelled to do it. If you're passionate about the genre you're in, then once you get yourself out there, you will find others who feel the same way. Now, if you're going to write what you enjoy to read, you will need to actually have an understanding of the genre you're writing in. So if you like crime, mystery, and thrillers, you will need to know how to write mysteries, how to write suspense, how to write plot twists and amazing reveals. Really delve deep into it, find out what it is about your favorite stories you like the most and why, and it will only enhance your own work and also boost your motivation in the process. Let me explain what I mean by starting small. Majority of the time when you set out to write, there are some who will say the only way to get to the level of writing a novel or full-length series is if you write and release a lot of short stories first. And while there is some truth in that statement, I don't fully agree with it. Yes, it is good to write nice, concise short stories to practice your storytelling skills, but it's not a requirement if you want to jump right into your dream comic, manga, or novel. What I suggest to you is to make a MVP, minimum viable product, like a one-shot story. Now, you may have an intricate story with a bunch of characters and mysteries and plot twists all around. Say, for instance, a show like One Piece that's currently over 1,000 chapters. And even that start off as a 60-ish page one-shot story called Romance Dawn. You want to make sure that the story you're writing is actually interesting to other people and not just you. Now, if you're writing your story just for yourself, then completely ignore what I just said. But if you want to release your story to the masses and have it be well received, you need to test the waters first, see if there's any interest, and if you get any feedback, know what to take in and what to ignore, because there are some who will just spout nonsense and try to discourage or offend, but there are many who genuinely want to help and see your story improve. So start small, then you can move on to the big league. One of the most important things you need to know if you want to have your stories be successful is who are you writing for. If you don't know the audience you're writing for, or if you have no audience at all, then your work is more than likely going to fail, and that's just the honest truth. Manga is separated into as many categories for a reason. Shonen manga's audience are teenage boys, shoujo is for teenage girls, and seinen is for a more mature audience. These categories help the writers know who exactly their audience will be and what they enjoy to engage in. That's why shonen manga are filled with superpower beings who can blast, cut, and obliterate their opponents. If you don't know who your audience is, or you completely misunderstand your audience, then you get things like the new Velma TV show, or the Rings of Power, or She-Hulk, or the final seasons of Game of Thrones. Have an audience, know your audience, cater, not pander to your audience, and you will be on the right track. To wrap up this video, if you want a cohesive story that makes sense from beginning to end, and you want to hit all of your story beats at the right moments for maximum effect, then you're going to need to outline your story. Now, I know some people don't like to outline and just do some free-form writing and just go with the flow, and others believe you need to have this intricate outline detailing every little character moment mapped out in order to stay on track. And you can do that, but you can do something as simple as a summary of this is what I want to happen in Act 1, 2, and 3. These are the story beats I want to hit in each act, and that's it. Your outline is done. Simple as that. And you can go deeper into your outline if you want, or you can keep it simple. It's really up to you and your writing style. But if you don't have at least a basic outline, you're going to be pretty much screwed, because you want to know where important moments will go, or else everything will feel chaotic and your audience will notice if things just happen out of nowhere and there's been no setup and you get a lousy payoff. Or even worse, you give your characters blatant plot armor, which will pull your audience out of the experience, which is something you do not want. So just swallow that pill, make the outline, and you'll be better off for it, I promise. That's gonna do it for this video, guys. If you made it this far, thank you for making it all the way through. I hope I've helped you take a step towards writing the story of your dreams. And if you learned something, let me know by hitting that like button and leaving a comment down below. It'll let me know that you guys are enjoying these types of videos and to keep coming with more. If you're looking forward to my next video, be sure to ring that notification bell so you'll be alerted when I upload any and everything to the channel, and consider subscribing for more content on writing and art, and I will see you guys next time.